What is up, my brothers from another mother? I've had a few of you guys request a video, from the guys that have been recently divorced and looking to get back into the dating world, and the narrative is always something like, it's been 15 years, Rich, or I was married for 25 years, and I'm 45 right now. What does the dating world look like? What are the rules? Can you do tip videos for that? So this is what this one is. I'm going to give you 4 tips. The 5th one isn't really a tip. It's kind of the most important one, but I'm going to leave it right to the end, so watch the whole thing. The first one, let's talk about pictures. I'm going to reserve this more specifically for online dating because that's how most guys are meeting ladies today in this world. And this is pretty much the same sort of advice that you can use for, a web-based app, a browser-based, tablet stuff you're using, or even swiping apps. So let's talk about pictures first, because this is where a lot of guys get fooled and they don't learn the lesson until they've had the experience or the exposure for a while, and they start to realize that there's a few tricks to the trade, let's say. So I got a few notes here. Let's start out with close-ups. Close-ups are a very important thing to know. So first thing, pictures. Close-ups. The closer she is to the camera, usually the less there is to look at in real life. So what do I mean by that? When they start, usually as women get older, you'll start to notice the general trend on dating sites is they'll take more close-ups of things like, eyes or eyebrows if they get them shaped or whatever. It's like whatever they can accentuate or show off is what they'll tend to lean more on with their dating exposure. Now, I'll use this example as probably one of the best illustrative. It's a picture that I saw one time, and it said something like picture 5,000, like at the top, because it was a screenshot, and it said at the top something like picture 5,872 of 11,222 pictures. Women take a lot of pictures on their cell phone, and you got to remember, if there's only like a handful, 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, on the site or the dating app, those are their, very best pictures they have. It's not an accurate representation of who you're going to meet and what you're going to see usually, because they've gone through some, hundreds, in some cases thousands, or in many cases, tens of thousands of photographs over the years that they've taken, and they've distilled it down to the very, very best ones that they can find that they can use to hold out to the public who they want to be. So that's the first thing. Headshots is another very important thing to note. If you get a profile that only has pictures of their neck up, that's usually a good indicator that there's nothing from the neck down to look at. They're usually fat, they've hit the wall, there's just something that they're hiding. And there's one of 2 ways that you can handle that. The way that I just because I just got tired of asking and trying to be polite, and it's like, the way that you can basically deal with that is, hey, saw your 3 pictures, looks good, great smile, whatever, if you want to compliment something. Why no pictures below the neck? Are you fat? Question mark sort of thing. And one of 2 things will either happen. You'll either see the pictures, in which case it'll indicate that they're not, or 2, they'll get very offended, in which case they are fat. So just know that, pictures are kind of a tricky area. I know guys are super visual. Again, I've said this before in my videos, women are considered, sexual beauty objects to men, and men are considered success objects to women. So it matters, ladies, you're watching this, I know. It matters what the ladies look like. I know that. We talked about best shot, old pictures and stolen pictures. So that's the other thing that we should probably mention too. Old pictures, I've seen this a few times where it's like there's hairdos that are obviously outdated from 10, 15 years ago, and they're using them, in today's world, where that it's an older picture. Or on the bottom of the photograph, there's one of those orange kind of like watermark time date stamps that they used to put on the old digital cameras that'll say, 7/15/2007. Most women are smart enough to crop that part out, but you just have to be aware that you might be looking at a 10-year-old version of what they might have looked like 10 years ago, to which I usually respond, I would never message anybody like that, but if they message me, you basically come at them with something like, oh, nice picture from 2007. Do you own a time machine too, where we're going to go back in time so I can date you at that age as well? Women hold out to the public on a lot of these dating sites and apps of who they're really not looking like today. So you just have to be aware of that when it comes to pictures. And then stolen pictures is the other thing. This is something that I've run into before, not that often, but it's happened, where you'll see pictures of their face and body. Hard to figure out what their body might look like because of the lighting or their dress they're wearing, or if they're standing around people or behind people. And then they might have just one picture of a very, very fit, sexy body, but without a head on it. So it's cropped out, neck down. And I've seen that happen a few times. In fact, I've walked out on women when I've shown up and the body doesn't match, what I saw in the pictures. I actually had one woman, she had the balls to say to me, oh, great, nice to meet you. You look exactly like your pictures. I look like my pictures. Let's carry on. And I was like, no, you don't look anything like your pictures. This one here, and I showed it to her, is not you. And I walked out. So, you can put up with that nonsense, but that's just a heads up on the first thing. So number 2, let's talk about bio bullshit. So bio is the biography part. They're going to lie to you. It's marketing. All marketers are liars. Seth Godin wrote a pretty cool book. I don't remember how long ago it was. I mean, you can look it up if you're in the business world, but it's called All Marketers Are Liars. And I found the same thing to be true in the online dating world. I know guys lie too. Guys will lie about their height, for example. If they're 5'7", they'll round it up to 5'11" or 5'10" sometimes. Some women have told me that. So, women will tend to lie about, their life's journey, where they're at, how fabulous their life is, how, I can't count how many, times I've seen profiles where, women would have said something like, oh, I'm the best ex-wife ever, or, me and my husband have a great relationship, blah, blah, blah. And then when you meet them, they start telling you stories of like nightmares that they have, fighting over money, custody, and all kinds of stuff. What are you doing, dude? So that's something very important to mention. The other thing that you want to look out for in the bio is single moms. If they're writing something in the bio along the lines of, I'm a mom to my 2, 3, 4, whatever fucking number of children that they've got, and they will always come first. Something along that line. They're saying to you very clearly and concisely that you don't matter, you're never going to matter, you're always going to take a back seat to their kids, to their career, to where they live, to the problems they have in their life. So just be aware of that line in dating sites. When I first saw it, I thought it was a virtuous characteristic trait, but what I had learned from experience in dating single mothers is it's really not. They're really telling you up front and center that you're not going to matter, and that you're going to need to pander to her and her children's needs around that sort of schedule. So open your eyes to that, because women will tell you about that sort of stuff. Jobs type, body type is another lie that you'll sometimes see, where they'll say that they're athletic, but they're not. There was one that used to list body type as fit, F-I-T, obviously, of course. And I used to joke around and think all they got to do is change the I to an A and make it fat. Women tend to have a slightly skewed, sometimes extremely skewed version or vision of what they might look like. I suppose they probably do it because I imagine guys are searching when they're filtering for fit or athletic women, because guys generally aren't interested in a fat chicks unless you're into that sort of thing. So that's probably why they lie. But just be aware of that. Make sure that before you meet them, you've got full exposure to pictures that include more than just their face, because it's very easy to have a pretty face and a fat body. So if that matters to you, ensure that you've seen more than just a couple of pictures of the face. Okay, let's talk about blended families and hypergamy. Captain Save-A-Ho sort of stuff. I've made a note for that for a reason, because women, how can I put this? We know women are hypergamous. They always want to date up, marry up, find somebody that's in a better financial, economic position than them. But they're going to send or signal cues to you that they've got a wonderful world that they live in with great children, that never misbehave, that never act up, that never, fill in the blank of whatever it is that might be a problem when it comes to blended families. But just be aware, when you get back into the dating world, a lot of women that you're going to start to meet are going to already have kids. In fact, over the age of 30, 35, most women have children by now. When you see them on these dating sites, and it's mostly single moms that use those sites just because they don't have a lot of time to talk to guys in person or go out and do stuff like that. So it's an easy place for them to put up a profile and then hold out to the public of who they want people to believe who they are, but it may not be accurate as far as who they truly are. So watch out for women that are looking for the Captain Save-A-Ho. They want to create a blended family. They're looking for a hypergamous deal. They want you to move in. They want you to sell their house and get into their world. Whatever it might be, I'll tell you why when I get to the fifth point at the end, because it really truly does matter. And the last one before I hop on the highway here is, be okay with being on your own, which is going to segue into my last point. Now, why I say be okay with being on your own is you need to be happy with yourself, okay? A lot of the times when you guys are newly divorced, they're not completely thrilled with where they are in life. Maybe they got taken to the cleaners by their ex-wife. Maybe their ex-wife, ran them over the rails to get full custody. 80-85% of women have the majority of custody orders. So guys don't always end up in the best spot. There's a few women that I've met that have told me that they just can't date guys because they've been taken to the cleaners after their divorce because of their lifestyle choices and where they live. But just work on yourself, which brings me to the last and final point, which isn't really more than just a holistic overall tip. Let's get in front of this guy here. But it's when you enter the dating world from a place after a divorce, when you're new to it, after you've been, married to somebody for a long, long time, you're very blue pill in your way of thinking. Most guys are anyways, what I've noticed. I've noticed it through my coaching business when I'm talking to them on the Clarity platform. I've noticed certain comments and notes based on what's happening in the conversation back and forth. And a lot of guys are still very, very blue pilled when it comes to being a recent, divorced. So consume content. I'll leave a link below for The Rational Male. I've pointed this many times. I'm going to keep mentioning it because it's so valuable. It's a book that I've gone through quite a few times now, actually. Read The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. Open your lens, the way in which you view the world. Consider looking at things with a red pill lens. Stop looking at things with blue pill thinking. It doesn't serve you. If you've been divorced, most guys that get divorced, they start to recognize that, things aren't what they thought they were. Things in the marriage and post-divorce, the way divorces are handled, are not always the way that you thought they were. And that's when they start to wake up. That's when they start to have some level of awareness. I hear some guys go way off the chart and they start talking about MGTOW, never dealing with women again. Totally understand, I get it. But consume red pill content, okay? Start with The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi if you haven't checked it out. You also want to open your scope of vision to the reality of the way intergender and sexual relationships work. Read Sex at Dawn by Chris Ryan and Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. I'll put links to both of those, not only in the pinned comment, but in the description. I hope you find that stuff very useful, and this video has helped you open your eyes at least a little bit. Anyway, those are my tips for today. If you have any topic requests, leave them in the comments below. I've got some time coming up this summer because of the summer custody schedule and stuff like that. So I'm making a list of some videos that I'm going to try to get done and pound out. I'll be doing some more car-related stuff once I have some more time as well. But do leave your topic requests below. Smash the like button, comment, share this with somebody that needs to see it that's recently divorced. And of course, if this is the first video that you've seen, consider subscribing. Thanks for checking this out. Have an amazing day. Peace.